Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 2 in this best of 3. Doom, you want to kick off these intros for me, sir?
Absolutely. Spawning, lower right-hand corner of the map. He is from Team Grubby, the green Protoss player, Grubby.
And his opponent in the upper left, playing for Empire, with an in-base supply depot very quickly. It is Kas. Now, what we are going to take a quick look at is last time we had the polls. I believe the numbers were 10-7 in the favor of Grubby. Let's see if that's changed after that game. It looks like it has, albeit just slightly. Now 13 votes to 10 in the favor of Grubby. So Grubby's still certainly the fan favorite. Hopefully he can hold it together for this game, Doom.
Hopefully. He was one of my picks to win it all, so I'm, de facto rooting for him here. And Kas is going to switch it up with a different style of build, going for barracks into an earlier refinery, which could signal the fact that he wants to get a Reaper out. And on this map, probably a good choice here. Belshire Vestige. You got two locations where you can jump into the main base, the Protoss player. And we saw Grubby on this map earlier go for those Templar Archives, that very early Storm style of play. So I'm wondering if he'll be faced with an engineering bay block like we saw before, or if we'll actually get to see what his plan would have looked like without that small misstep. Not small misstep, but small hindrance, placed upon him.
Yeah, sometimes early game moves can dictate the rest of the game. It sounds a bit silly to say, but if you see an engineering bay blocking your natural, maybe instead of planning for a macro game, suddenly you want to do like a 2-base all-in. And if that doesn't work, then you're left in a really, really difficult position for game 2. But let's not forget, Kas can play this a little more relaxed. Being up a game in a best of 3, he can afford to lose this. Not that you ever want to, but at least can't afford to. But Grubby getting in here with the probe. He might be the nicest guy with his manners, but he's so rude with this probe.
It's vicious. Vicious attacker. And Kas looks like he wanted to place the command center down on low ground. Just like there, and he does, indeed.
Oh, the Reaper coming out.
Reaper gonna give chase to that probe.
Yeah, probe's certainly gonna die. Really important too.
First blood.
Yep,
really important. Oh, sorry, that awkward moment where we both start talking. Sorry. I was gonna say it's really important he gets that now too, because now the probe is not across the field. It can't sneak away later and put a pylon down. And Kas, knowing this, is going to be able to play a little bit more relaxed at home, not having to worry about that quick 4-gate or something ridiculous. But here we go, scouts the natural base of Grubby.
Belgian Core gonna just miss the Reaper and gonna juke back in here. Can he actually get a kill? Will we see the first or second blood?
Yeah, looks like he gets it and gets out alive. Always nice to get kills with the Reaper. I mean, typically you build the Reaper with the goal of scouting. Any kills you get, just make it life even better.
He's playing with fire here, though.
I know, he's stutter stepping.
Core.
What is he doing? He can just run away. Kas is totally just being a wiener right now.
Oh my gosh.
I guess.
Are you gonna come here? You gonna give me?
Well, actually, I'm kind of making light of that, but what it does do is keep him in vision of the mothership core, so he knows whether it's going across the field and whether it'll be a problem, but will happen upon the stalker. Luckily at full health, not too much trouble, can just run away.
It's never nice when you get shot with a laser beam in the face after trying to move through a brush over there. It's an unpleasant way to spend your time, but back at home here, Kas has added on, he's just on 2 barracks right now, but he's got one with a refinery, or one with a reactor, and one with a tech lab, going for that early stim style of play once again, and Grubby back at home is going for robotics facility.
Yeah, my question is whether Kas is going to go for 3 racks again really quickly. The big part of why he was able to break the push of Grubby is because he had so many units on the field due to that one extra production structure. If he had only had 2 racks on the field, that may not have been as close as it was. Ooh, Reaper is taken out there. Nice surround with the probes. But I really want to stress, like, seriously, last game, a lot of that came down to the fact, like, can you imagine if he had, like, 8 less Marines in the counterattack? Like, would he have even broken Grubby is the big question.
I don't know. It's very difficult to say when you're talking about those numbers on such specific points in time. I think the medevacs were really what made such a huge difference in that last game. But
well, I mean, even before the medevacs came out, it was whatever. We won't dwell on that too much. But the point is, Kas is gonna he had a lot on the field last game. He's gonna have a lot on the field this game, but just not as much of a lot.
Yeah, and you know what he actually have in his favor is knowledge, and he scouted out the entirety of Grubby's main base, so he has established what the tech will be from Grubby in the early stages. But Grubby doesn't really seem to be pushing towards any type of offensive robotics facility tech. Instead, he's going to opt for an observer here, and is going to be throwing down that Twilight Council. So even though the robotics facility was the early choice, he may transition later into Storm, and that could come much sooner than we actually anticipate.
Yeah, well, with the observers coming out quick, we've been talking about knowledge being power for so long, and that is the advantage of getting observers out in the field quick like this.
And one of the advantages that could come into Costa's favor here is he's going to pick off these units in the middle of the map with this Marine. You know, he's actually just going to opt to go into natural. This could do a lot of damage, Rifkin. There's nothing here to defend.
Where's the mothership working overcharge, though? So, not the scariest thing. Force field on the ramp, keep him out of the main. No overcharge going off just yet, though. Waiting a little bit too long here. Does force field the main to make sure no run-bys happen, because, of course, Kaz will just love to run up this ramp.
Oh, it almost looked like he missed that force.
Oh!
For a second. It would have been devastating.
But this could be devastating. It actually was missed. He could have walked past that. I'm surprised Kaz didn't, but takes out the gateway pylon, so these are depowered, and now getting hit from two angles are these Marines. They just can't win. But he forces out two overcharges. This is kind of a big deal, because now, if Grubby goes offensive, there's no time warps available, no recalls, and if Cass were to come with wave 2, there wouldn't be another overcharge. He's not, but there wouldn't be.
I believe Cass did see the Templar archives going down, so I believe he's in the know in that regard, but we don't see him actually responding by what we would expect him to be, and that be a ghost. Simply just going into standard Terran play off of barracks infrastructure, medevacs, and about to finish up his engineering bay, which he'll probably start +1 pretty quickly.
Oh, he did see the Templar archives, but curious enough, he didn't see the Twilight Council, just like a couple grid stages out of range. But these drops are going to be painful. Again, there is going to be no overcharge, guys. Confirmed. Mothership core is still half dry.
And once Grubby sees his third base, I think that's going to push him into all-out, all-in mode. He's got those additional gateways that are going down in the back of the base and the natural there.
Yeah, Storm is being chronoed out like crazy right now, so definitely wants to get this on the field for that Bioforce, but
small little attack coming through could do a little bit of damage. Like you keep stressing on this photon overcharge, but that's really what Protoss players are relying on these days to defend against these types of pushes.
And that force field was just slightly off. If Grubby had landed that force field, those Zealots could have connected, but as we see here, trouble even touching the army. Cass with such a small amount of units with just Stim harassing the heck out of Grubby.
Like a cat playing with the dead mouse. I'm not going to call Grubby dead right now, but the kiting from absolutely insane.
But charge. Oh. Can you say something real quick?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just went super robot-y for a second. I don't know. But you're good now. Anyways, Charge did just finish up with the Zealot, so now he can actually connect to this. And as we saw, Marauders almost died because of that. Storms are coming out. He does have a couple Templar on the field, I believe, already garnering energy. If not, he's in some trouble. Yep. Yes, they're in the Warp Prism. Oh dear, he's gonna need those at home, dude. He is. Oh god, this is gonna actually be really bad. Cass coming across with a lot of units, and Grubby with nothing to hold on with.
Nope. Is going to try to desperately build an Archon, pushing it back with units there, but it is going to get sniped before it even comes out onto the field potentially.
Overcharge does just barely get enough energy though. And with this down, he should be able to hold this push. The Archon's soaking a lot of the damage, so the Nexus isn't being focused. The Vikings are on the ground landed. Grubby with those Templars still in the Warp Prism. Is he going to go for Storm Drops? I don't know. Either way, he's got to focus at home right now. There is an Immortal at the top of the ramp. He should be able to hold this Doom.
This is all of his attention focused here. The Warp Prism has stopped in its tracks. He's trying desperately to push back Koss, and Koss doesn't have any medevacs, and only there's one single medevac in the vicinity, so he's not going to be breaking it just quite yet. He isn't in the know in regards to the third base of Grubby, so small victory there for Grubby.
Yeah, but Grubby forces a liftoff, picks up a couple SCVs. Storm Drops about to come at the natural. Koss gonna lose so many workers here. Boom! 16 workers killed. Yeah, Zell's going to charge right on in. This is the type of move Grubby definitely needed to get back into this game. Third base being established and his natural holding. Grubby's actually looking to be in a pretty solid spot this game. His army supply is not superior, but charge is going to be great at allowing him to connect to this bio. Still continue to harass the main. Cass suddenly has almost no income whatsoever because everything is just running away.
And now the economic advantage is even greater for Grubby, considering the fact that he has 58 probes at 36 SMBs. So if got the
big storm coming down on the SCVs. If he can get one more off, Doom, just barely has enough energy and crushes the SCV count. 39 workers killed, loses the Warp Prism, gonna lose the armory to the Zealots, but absolutely worth it in the end. So much damage done across the field, and Kaz goes from being so far ahead to being very far behind economically. 63 workers to 22.
That just shows the power of Storm Rifkin. It's almost like watching Blue Flame Hellions get into the main base and just
so dirty.
Completely ravage everything. But I got one question for you. How is the weather over there, Rifkin?
You know, Doom, it's actually freezing freaking cold in Canada, but I want to point out, like, if that Warp Prism, I kind of made a saying, like, what's he doing across the field? He needs it at home, but it was the fact that it was across the field that he's even still in this game. Grubby is so good. But 3 medevacs are fully loaded. Then there's a cannon or 2 at the main, but this could be rough. I don't know if he's got to scout this for sure.
He's got a photon overcharge. That is in his favor.
But he's got 3 bases he needs to defend. Being spread out could be problematic.
I do think, though, that the economic advantage is going to pay dividends for Grubby moving forward, though. He's pushing out onto the middle of the field, so this is going to take Kos's attention. But back at home, I don't think Kos knows that Grubby has this 3rd base still. Yet, no, he still has not confirmed and scouted that.
The big thing, too, is Kos is about to drop in the main. Grubby knows this, though. He already saw this ahead of time, and the medevac will go down before unloading a single unit. Storm going to try and blanket the other one. 11 health on it. And some from the other side, perhaps? More Prism going to unload. More Storms. Oh god, devastating those Marines.
3rd base is under assault as well. Single cannon going to try desperately to defend against this. A small warp in is going to come through, and oh my gosh, the feedbacks are everywhere for Grubby at once. Even a Storm going to come in here, and this drop is going to be pushed back.
Grubby is so good to still be in this game, Doom.
No photon overcharge needed, man.
Yeah, apparently not. I mean, he's holding with a single cannon. It's not meant to win the fights, but this Viking, it's only a sentry to shoot it, but it's going to be enough.
So here's the response now seeing from Kos that we expected once he saw the Templar Archives. He must have never clicked on the Templar Archives because he's just now adding on that Ghost Academy, which is about halfway done. Back at home, trying to add on more barracks. He's even adding Hellbacks into the mix to try to deflect against what Grubby has.
No, I think you were right earlier, Doom. Like, he didn't have Ghosts on the field because he thought Grubby was still stuck on 2 bases. He was trying to just overwhelm and overpower, quite frankly, smother his opponent. But as we saw, Grubby with so much more. What few SCVs in
the ramp.
Yeah, there's...
And big Storms in the main.
He's trying to get Storms in the main, but there's not a lot. 2 Storms is a problem. 4 seconds, he can get another Storm off, but it's going to be too late. 73 energy and the Templar dies. But I can't believe this. Grubby now taking his 4th base. Kos perhaps kicking himself in the butt for getting a little too, I guess, cocky is the way I could describe it. I mean, he was making the right moves with the assumption Grubby only had 2 bases, but Grubby didn't only have 2 bases.
You know, he's still not necessarily in the worst position in the world. He's got Hellbats in his mix now, too. So if he can split and dodge the Storms, there's really not a whole lot behind this for Grubby to defend. He's just now adding on his double Colossus production. He's only got +2 ground armor, whereas Kos has 2-1, I believe, at this point. And Grubby's continuing trying to take economic advantage of the game, so it doesn't seem like Grubby really has the army that he wants to defend against this, and we look at the army supplies here, Kos is in favor in total supply.
Yeah, what's actually really cool about this composition, with a very Marauder... That's awkward, 1 Warp Prism moving past 4 medevacs. Or not 4, but like 6 medevacs. But what I was going to comment on is, Marines are incredibly susceptible to Storms. Well, hang on, we'll see in a sec. Goes for the feedbacks. Doesn't quite snipe anything off, though. Big Storms coming down. But look at the Storms. He's so good, but this is the problem I was about to talk about, where... Oh, well, hang on. Maybe not a problem. So many Storms going down. Gets a feedback off. Grubby with another medevac unloading here. Tries to feedback the last couple of medevacs. And he should clean this up without too much issue. Zealots are going to charge in. But the point I was going to make is Hellbats have like 135 health. Marauders have like 125 health. Actually, let me just check. 130. Hey, I was right on those numbers. Cool. Marines only have like 55 and Ghosts have 200. Or sorry, 100. Storm does 80 damage, guys. The reason you get your Marines in the army, they're very high DPS. They kill the Zealots efficiently and quickly, but they're very weak to Storms. What Cass has on the field is not weak to Storms. All of these units will take 2 or more Storms to kill. And that's only if he eats them fully.
Can I just point out how much of a technician Grubby is? His main base, not only does it look the same as the last game, his fourth base layout is completely the same amount of cannons, same amount of Templar defending.
Yeah.
You can tell he's done this before and is definitely a strategy of choice here, but it seems like, okay, the upgrades are staying relatively even here for both players. And as we're progressing forward, I don't know if Kas can really has as many options as Grubby has. Look at the map control that Grubby has established in this game, the vision he has of everything going on. He's never going to be able to take, or he's going to be able to take Kas from surprise in a bunch of different angles, whereas Kas
nice ghost.
simply can't take anyone by surprise here.
Well, what he does finally do is clean up that warp prism, which is a really big note, because that's the warp prism harass has single-handedly been the most frustrating thing for Kas this game. Without it, Grubby wouldn't still be in this. And nice feedback on the ghost. Gets another feedback.
Gonna get a snipe there of the observer that was just spotting everything. And Grubby's actually gonna push forward here. There are a couple of EMPs available.
Look at the natural though. There's been like this one zealot that was going to town for the longest time. Finally got cleaned up. How many workers killed in total? I wonder. 47, dude. Grubby went from being in a position where he was almost losing this game to now being 5 bases on the map. He's got upgrades on his side. He's not overpowering his opponent on upgrades, but he's got upgrades going quite nicely for him. Both players should finish 3-3, relatively similar timings, but man, this army from Kas is so robust, so strong. Storms alone will not be enough.
I'm surprised we're not seeing just an SCV pull and go from Kas at this point, but I mean, we gotta be considering what's going on here. Grubby's taking his 5th base in the game.
Kas doesn't even know about 4 or 5 though, Doom. And that might be why we see him play a little more tentatively, but Dark Shrine coming up. Gonna be kind of cool to add some Dark Templar to the mix. Not a lot of detection on the field. May have to use either scans or EMPs, but either way, you know, I would love for Grubby to win this game just because with the intensity of the players, a game 3 would be the most intense thing ever. But big storm drop coming down here is taken out pretty quickly. Lots of damage going down, and there's just not enough medevacs to constantly heal this bio.
And I was wondering what Grubby was thinking with this little outpost up here to the left, but he's protecting this pylon by 2 photon cannons and warping in if any units come and try to attack it. So
It's pretty cool.
Continuing to get the small victories.
Zealots trying to charge in where they can. The dangerous thing for Kas, though, look, main completely empty. Natural, 2 mineral patches. His 3rd base is his only mining base at the moment. If he cannot establish another base, he's going to starve out of this game, regardless of how efficient his army is.
Yeah, seems like it's just a matter of time here, unless Kas can really just take a huge engagement in his favor, but he doesn't really have the medevac count to make his units as cost efficient as possible.
And
only 2 on the field.
This is the economy advantage of Grubby. He keeps sending zealots towards the natural, towards the 3rd base, hitting both angles at a time, and he's able to throw away these units because he can replace them very quickly. Kas, however, not able to make those same sort of throwaways, not able to keep the harass up.
And a big chunk of SCVs were trying to transition to that 4th base for Kas there, but they ran into Colossus laser beam. Vikings are actually getting forward in the army here. The Stalkers might be forced to try to engage with them, but they're being attacked by Marauders at the same time.
Yeah, the Colossus are kind of low. If you could get a couple more good connections off, maybe, just maybe. Grubby is on the back burner, running backwards right now. He's got so many workers on the field, though, dude. 71 workers. That's really chewing into his army supply. We consider the fact Kas is on even army supply, but just not as many workers. It's not that scary.
But he does have Mule. Never forget Mule. He also has 10 ghosts on the field too, which is actually kind of good. 8 Vikings in his composition here, 16 Hellbats and 15 Marauders. This thing is beefy, and
but look,
he's
3 Dark Templar, several Zealots. He could pick off the Ghost Academy and just win. But gonna go for the SCVs, gonna keep the economy low, gonna keep it hurting. And Kas, I think this is just going to trigger a big fight. Will catch the Colossus a little bit out of position, and there's not a lot protecting this, just a ton of cannons. But luckily the Marauders chew through those cannons, but why are the Ghosts on the front lines? Kas! And he's got 1 medevac. It's out of energy. Storms will crush this army. As we see happening, big storms go off. This army is in the low. 2 Colossus should be able to mop this up. Oh, Doom.
He's going down, though, and there's still a lot of Vikings on the field. He's going to probably land them now to try to add DPS to his army, but the warp-ins from Grubby here just going over.
Good game. Oh, my God. Kas, you magnificent bastard. Guys, this is going to take us right to game 3. Going to throw in a small set of ads, and we will see you in the lobby.
Neither guy really wants to give up against the other one.
No. It's tenacity,
Like,
determination.
I don't want to leave this game. I just want to drag it out. Oh. I will probably see the quickest game ever here, the third one.
That was so
Maybe.
well played. Like on both sides though, really.
Grubby does good when he gets those storms, man. Oh, love the zoom out.
Ugh, I hate observing when I'm casting.